July 2023 and we're about to embark on a new project here at the Oasis, which we're going to film from the very beginning. Over the past few years, we've made a few films at our nature reserve in South Africa, Komsberg Wilderness Nature Reserve. But this is the first one that we'll have done at the Oasis, here in Sussex, England, within what's officially classified as an area of outstanding natural beauty. Whereas Komsberg is huge, 30,700 acres in size or 17 miles across, the Oasis is only 15 acres. Nevertheless, this comparatively small reserve acts like a magnet for local wildlife. We've been here for 42 years, since 1981, when it was started by Ian, who's behind the camera. Several different mini habitats for wildlife were initially created. We've got a grass meadow, for example, surrounded by hundreds of trees that we planted over 20 years ago to act as wildlife corridors. These join up with Oasis Woods, a rare bit of semi-natural ancient woodland, of which just 2.5% remains in the UK, making it extremely special. Ancient woods are the richest terrestrial habitat in our country, home to more threatened species than any other. The Oasis Gardens were started over 40 years ago. They're packed full of perennial plants in particular, which flower from March through to November. The colourful display attracts large numbers of butterflies, bees and other insects, plus lots of birds. There are shrubs, hedges and trees as well, providing numerous nesting opportunities. A family of stoats has been living under this corner rockery for many years, and we've occasionally been treated to seeing youngsters playing on the grass when we've sat down for lunch. Grass snakes and slowworms are now very common at the Oasis, whereas we didn't see any for the first 10 to 15 years, with the grass snakes using these large compost bins for breeding. We realised the importance of wildlife gardening well before it became fashionable, and we don't have time for the many twee ideas. We're totally practical, with decades of hands-on experience, so we know what we're talking about. When we've occasionally found time to do surveys, the Oasis Garden section has won hands down for the amount and variety of wildlife, easily beating what's found on the other sections of the reserve. And that's despite us fencing out certain species, such as deer and rabbits. We dug out, by hand, 3 ponds in the garden section over 40 years ago. They're near to each other, with 2 small ones above and a larger one below. They're home to great crested newts, a good variety of dragonflies and damselflies, and much more. Mallard ducks and moorhens regularly use them and breed here. So, our new project. This small area below the gardens and next to the corner of our ancient woodland has never been that productive, somewhat neglected. We're now going to change all that and dig out a new wildlife pond here. It'll be 12 by 5 metres in size, with native fish living in it once finished. The aim is to hopefully attract kingfishers. We have kingfishers patrolling along our stream in Oasis Woods, feeding off trout found in the deeper pools here. About 20 years ago, we restored and puddled this old depression pond at the edge of the woods, which is used, especially in spring. But, as you can see, it doesn't hold water through the drier summer months. We're going to make this new pond photography friendly, beautifully landscaped, with a hide at one end. And there'll be a bird feeding station to the side of the hide, also bearing in mind photography and filming. So, even if kingfishers don't find it, the pond etc. will still be well used by everything else in the neighbourhood. Some of the trees that we have to take down are ash trees, unfortunately declining because of ash dieback disease. And there's a few blue spruce, posh Christmas trees along the border of this section, planted over 50 years ago, before we were here, which also have to go. But nothing really productive is being removed to make way for the pond. Several oak trees are staying, and they'll benefit from the increased light. This boundary hedge has been totally ignored by us and our neighbour for decades, so that also needs attending to. OK, that's enough talking for now. Team, Get that chainsaw started and let's get to work. So, that's the site cleared, which was actually a bigger area than we've shown. Next up, we have to get the tree stumps out, dig the pond and then line it. Liner plus underlay and overlay has been generously supplied by Stevens Industries. They don't know that we're filming our Kingfisher Pond project, so this will be a surprise. They're not expecting anything in return. But thank you, John Earl, Managing Director of Stevens Industries, very much for your kind help, which we really appreciate. We all purposely work on a non-paid basis, disliking the inefficiency and ineffectiveness of most charities, including the huge amount of money that's wasted paying themselves salaries. We're proud to be different, and we're pioneers, championing the need for a deeper approach to nature conservation, knowing that psychological attitude is the key to our success. Centimetres of subsoil is going on top of the liner, plus pieces of flat rock, just to make sure that herons won't puncture it. The temporary hosepipe ban in our area has recently been lifted, so we're able to get on and start filling the pond. There's still a lot of landscaping work to do, so that's enough talking for now. we're hoping to attract kingfishers to the pond, we need to introduce a few native fish. These small roach will hopefully settle in well, then eventually spawn, providing a good food source for any visiting kingfishers. Until we build up a decent population of fish, we meanwhile want to dissuade herons, who could nab the lot at this early stage. A few strategically placed lengths of fishing line might put them off, because they won't like it getting in the way of their long legs as they walk around the edge of the pond. In the long term, there'll hopefully be sufficient food for kingfishers and herons. I mentioned earlier in the film that a family of stoats live here at the Oasis. We're calling this rocky complex Stoatley Home, hoping that stoats will make good use of it. You probably noticed a wooden nesting box being buried under the soil and rocks, complete with 2 entrance tunnels. We actually made the pond 12 metres by 6 metres, a bit wider than originally planned. And it's already beginning to come alive. The first water boatmen arrived within days, and dragonflies have been laying eggs around the margins. You've probably seen enough time-lapse photography for now, so we didn't bother to record us building the hide. But here it is. There are views of the pond at different heights, with the carpet providing a bit of comfort when shooting lower down, nearer to water level. And this camouflage scrim netting can easily be draped over an open window, concealing the photographer and camera. And we have additional photography options on this side of the hide for viewing a bird feeding area, complete with perches. Clifton Cameras have kindly donated this Bushnell trail camera or camera trap. So, over the coming months, we'll be able to record the visiting wildlife. It can take good quality still photos and video, day or night. We'll have to have a large number of tiny fish to satisfy the needs of a kingfisher or two, because they eat lots, especially when they're rearing young. Some of our roach will hopefully spawn next spring, probably in May, or, if not, the following year for certain. Kingfishers need a perch to fish from, of course, so we've got one ready, well in advance. And we've made this fish refuge as a safeguard against cormorants, just in case one or more show up. It'll be fully submerged in the water, providing a degree of security for the fish. In the winter, we'll be planting young hawthorn trees along the perimeter here to form a new hedge, and some hazel behind the pond, which are favoured by dormice. Building this kingfisher pond has been a useful practical training project for our younger team members, especially in preparation for working at our huge Komsberg Wilderness Nature Reserve in South Africa. We've literally moved tons of subsoil by hand and carried and moved tons of rock into place, mainly to line the pond, which has a coverage of well over 100 square metres, but also for Stoatley Home and the surrounding landscape. We'll make a follow-up film late next spring, by which time the pond will have settled down and be starting to look good. We'll see what the camera trap has revealed in terms of visitors over the months. And you'll see lots of marsh marigolds in bloom along this edge of the pond, which will look beautiful. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications, plus give us a like.